After my first film, I felt so scrutinized for the way I looked that I felt ugly, that I would look in the mirror and I know I wasn't ugly. Now, when I look back, I'm like, I was in my prime, I looked so good. Why didn't I enjoy it? Times where I was looking at myself and I was like, feeling so ugly. From just the fact that somebody said, some comment about my teeth, how can you be an actor and all this kind of stuff.
What are the advices you were getting then when you're going to casting directors?
Dye my hair black and do an item number. Even after Margarita, I got only disability roles. What? So I've kind of just understood that this is just the ebb and flow of stuff, that people only remember you for your latest. We laughed a lot. It's like, I was like, this Bhagavati is getting paid more than I am, for sure,
How do you look at the current state of the Indian film industry and the content it's making? What are your thoughts on it?
There's nothing happening now. Everyone's unemployed. There's no work. It's not a good time in the industry. A lot of them are also just going and doing Telugu films or Tamil films because there's no work in here. Parents divorced when I was 13. It was really bad, very bad. They were really nasty to each other and it was like cold and mean, and growing up between that was very tough. Maybe that's why I'm divorced.
You had your divorce. You're actually still friends with this person. You maintained, and it was extremely civil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
But it took time,
Sure.
The first few years was not easy for us. White person would go from Oroville, there'd be white people going past our village. So we'd be like, and the Vellakaru Paka, and the Vellakaru Paka, which means look at that white person going past, look at that. Because how you stare at foreigners. So I was doing that. And the concept was not there that I was one of those.
Hello everybody, I'm Rudrani and welcome to Spotlight Sessions podcast. This is the podcast we call your favorite celebrities and sit, relax and have casual conversations about their life, the journey, so much more. We do attempt to have authentic conversations. My guest is perfect for that. She has been the it girl forever in Bollywood, not minding anything. She follows her own rules, continues to do so, and she's extremely talented, of course, talking about Kalki Koechlin. Thank you for joining in.
Thanks, Rajani. Good to see you again.
Applause.
Did you do that? ये teleprompter भी नहीं है ना? No. ऐसे ही बोला.
Of course.
Without a hitchki, nothing.
Of course.
Wow. Amazing.
Of course. I don't need to learn things when I'm describing you because every word is true. But like I said, it's been a while. You are living in this beautiful bungalow of yours in Goa, and I get to have you here for some time, and I'm making the most of it. Can I call that slow living? How's it working?
Slow living, yeah. The other day, I get it often now that people are like, "Aapne acting kyun chhod diya?"
Oh, they ask that.
I'm like, "Arre yaar." It's a little depressing, that part of the slow life. But no, the good part is obviously that I land in Goa and I'm in a good mood. Like I have greenery around me. My biggest problem is like a baby snake under my car. Like, it's not a bad thing to have. I like snakes. I've gotten to like snakes because I live in Goa.
Kalki, because you said that you said as soon as I land in Goa, you feel better. Coming back to Mumbai sometimes also must be good, with the whole chaos and bumping into us.
I think the energy I get from coming back is great because if I was living full time in Goa, Wi-Fi is down all the time or electricity problems or even just getting something done professionally can sometimes just take longer or people cancel on you at the last minute, all of that. So I think the spontaneity, not the spontaneity, but the kind of promptness and the getting things done. When I come to Bombay, it's very efficient. Like I come, I do 10 things at the same time, squash them all in together. I feel really full of power and energy. So yeah, of course, that balance is what makes it great. I have a lot of luck to be able to live that life.
So much to talk about, but we like to start the conversation with a video. You reached out to a close friend of yours, and here's a special video for you, and I'd like to play that.
Oh no!
Let's see what that message is. Okay.
Hey, Gangster, what's going on? You're in town and you haven't called, eh? I know some dark secrets about you, Kalki. So this is a ransom video. So you have to pay me $2 million. Or 50 crores, whichever is higher. So that I don't reveal your secrets. Otherwise, you'll be done. You'll be finished. I'm telling you. मुंह दिखाने के काबिल नहीं रहेगी तू. So please take this very seriously. I'm not joking. I know I have a great sense of humor and all that, but this is very serious. And I'm doing this through Rudrani, so she's going to get a cut also. She'll get 0.5678% of the ransom that I'll get. And I want it to be an offshore account details and all that. I'll send you. I'll just text that to you. You will see. I'm not particularly willing to negotiate, but then because you're such a great friend, I might just agree to some negotiations. Otherwise, Kali also will give me some trouble. She said, why didn't you negotiate with Kalki? She's a friend and all that. So, all right. And I have a career because of you, because we were friends. And then because of which I think you told Anurag, like, please have a look at this guy, give him some role. And then you guys auditioned me for that girl in yellow boots. And then I think Shaitan also. So, yeah, sometimes you get lucky in life. You meet wonderful people whose company and whose relationship you do cherish through your life, but they also kind of positively impact. And I think I don't know how my career would have gone if I hadn't gotten started with you all. And because you guys took care of me, Anurag took care of me, and I was working with friends, so I was a lot more comfortable. So yeah, I'll never forget that. And that was my privilege. My privilege that I was friends with you. Thank you very much for your friendship. And if you're still around, I'd love to come and meet you. And Kali and I will come and meet you. And we will negotiate about this ransom thing. Okay? All right. Much love.
Wow.
I want to thank Gulshan Deve. It was an absolute sweetheart. He immediately sent me this. Also is testament to the fact that you have such beautiful friendships in the industry. Because, it took like that for him to send that. And would love to know your reactions on the ransom and other things.
So, firstly to Gulshan, I just want to say that it's really cool. And I feel so flattered that you think I have 50 crores. That's the first rule of ransom. Find out how much money that person has. So thank you so much for thinking I'm so rich. And if I had it, I would give it. But, it looks like you'll just have to out my secrets. Second thing is, I'm very proud of the fact that I nepotized you into the industry with my friendship. And third thing is, you're the best. Yeah, he's like one of my oldest friends from Bombay. Like, he actually... we met in Bangalore, and so we met through somebody I know, Yeh Jawaani Hai Deewani, a theatre person, and I think even before he came to Bombay, I had known him. So we've really been the whole road together, this whole weird and wonderful journey of Bollywood, in very different ways, obviously. But he's also been a little bit of a free therapist before I could afford therapy.
Calming you down,
chatting, talking to me about
he's a wise
relationships,
man.
Problems. Yeah, he's pretty wise.
Pretty wise.
Getting wiser now. Is also
under that all that humor and all of that, he's pretty good with giving advices. Often in our interviews, we see him asking.
The problem of Gulshan is he gives too much advice. He's like a control freak. OCD. I don't know if I'll always bring this up that he's done this film Yellow Boots, right?
Of course.
Where he's playing this character so perfectly, except for one little thing. But anyway, he is sitting there and he's waiting for my character to come back. And it was Gulshan. And Gulshan couldn't help but notice that all the things on the table were in disarray. And Gulshan, the person, was very, very devastated. And as the character, he had to somehow just jump out of character for that moment in the scene and put everything in order, put every remote in place while he waited for me. So that little OCD part was quite symbolic of who he is. But he is somebody who's very... It's also what makes him a good actor. Yeah. That he's so specific and he's so, he wants to go right into it. And I think it's also his downfall in life because he's always telling everyone how to do, like if he was on the set right now, he would say, by the way, this is exactly how it was. This is how it should be. Or can you put this camera here? Or, Radharani asked me this question.
But we love him, and he's funny, and
We
and
love
everything.
him to bits.
To bits. And very interesting, an insight that I get from this conversation also is, I mean, you joked us saying that nepotized you into this, but always when you're an outsider, every opportunity counts. I understand why it mattered to Gulshan for you taking. I think that's an interesting insight that I also take from it. I mean, you've, from what people might not, I mean, if you are living under a rock, you might not know. But otherwise, you also come from a world very, very different from Bollywood and the Hindi film industry. And you realize the importance of getting that first break, don't you, Kalki?
Of course. And I think that there's a certain amount that one opportunity can take you, but there is also the work that happens after that, which he's proved himself so well with. But yeah, no doubt, I got him his break.
I like how you said that. Okay, we're going to go right to the beginning. You as a child and growing up. And how that impacted you. I love it that you had so many cultures around you. You were growing up with multi-languages, with multiple cultures, and you were living, in this city, which was different, particularly when you were growing up in Pondicherry. It was very interesting for you to see how the world around you perceives as this white person, whereas you were dabbling with how I enjoy this culture and I'm a part of this. So can we talk about that dichotomy actually?
Yeah, I mean, I was born in South India in a tiny village just outside of Auroville called Periyamudalya Chavadi. And it's like a little fisherman's village. And, I grew up speaking Tamil because that's the language we were speaking then in that place. So, it was very normal for me to feel Tamilian, to be honest, as well as, of course, I spoke French at home and I felt French. But I never consciously thought of myself as not Indian. And even now, I am constantly having to I kind of say I identify as Indian. I am Indian. I am from here. I've spent my entire life here. I pay taxes here. This is my home. I have to keep reiterating it because of the color of my skin and the fact that there aren't too many people like me. There aren't that many completely white Indians. Yes, there are people who are like half Indian. One parent is Indian, but there's always, this expectation that you have to have ethnical Indian root. And my argument for that is that there are people, like Mindy Kaling, who's completely Indian ethnically, but is completely American, born there, brought up there, career there, identifies with both cultures. So for me, it's like a little exhausting to have to talk about all that. But of course, I consider myself very lucky to have that as well. Like, I'm very happy that I grew up with several languages, grew up with all kinds of religion, all kinds of friends from different backgrounds. Yes, I'm like grateful for it.
Do you remember feeling that discrimination often when you're a child? You look at it very differently though, isn't it? When you grew up.
Yeah, as a very young child, I think the funny story I have is that, I was with my friends playing, and whenever a white person would go from Auroville, there'd be white people going past our village. So we'd be like, and the Vellakaru Paka, and the Vellakaru Paka, which means look at that white person going past, look at that. Look at how you stare at foreigners. So I was doing that, and the concept was not there that I was one of those. So that was the example. But later, I guess, like when I was 15, 14, I remember going to Kovalam beach in Kerala with my friends for a holiday, and all my friends were Indian, and I was the one that the drug dealer approached. I was the one that some random guy would hit on. So there was this kind of image that I would be easier to approach because of the fact that I'm not from here, that I don't understand the codes here and things like that. Similarly, when I've gone abroad and I've studied in London, there the codes that I'm Indian didn't make sense, right? Because I looked white. So, when I said I'm from India, they're like, yeah, sure. Like Madonna is from India or Uma Thurman is from India. So, the codes were not there. I think I remember that that moment when one of my English friends realized I was Indian. Okay, I was in the dormitories in my university, and we all each had our own room with like a little cubicle toilet. And she was hanging out in my room, and she said, "Can I use your loo?" I said, "Yeah, go." She went, and she said, "Oh, there's no toilet paper." So I said, "Yeah, but there's a little cup you can use." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't keep toilet paper. I use the cup." And that it really hit her then.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh," she's like, "Why?" I was like, "Because that's how we do it in India. We have a bum spray, you know." And I just don't ever use toilet paper. And she couldn't, like, the concept had to come from that, you know.
Can't get more Indian than that. Carrying bidets everywhere we go.
This is like a priority. And I also am shocked that some, I won't name hotels, 5-star hotels in our country, representing India,
don't have
it.
You mentioned that, and I wanted to talk about the importance that your parents also put on getting educated. And I think that your experience in London with theatre and everything obviously formed the foundation of you being an actor. And that must have really helped. A lot of people who don't know that you've studied and, you know, you've really studied the art, you've practiced it, you're a playwright and all of that, which I think, like a lot of actors say, nothing like doing theatre and teaching you about acting. So what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are, honestly, when it comes to acting, nothing like experience and working on the ground to learn about acting. The formal education of acting, in fact, I didn't even go to an acting school. I went to I did a BA in drama and theatre studies, which one part of it was acting, but a lot of it was like set direction, set designing, direction, the history of theatre, different forms of theatre from around the world. So it was a very academic course. But what it did do, going abroad, fending for myself, getting a job as a waitress, paying my own way through, just living life, having boyfriends, sorting out, my life on my terms, and not having your parents as support financially and emotionally, being in a strange country during Diwali and not having anyone to celebrate with. These are things which kind of, do something to you as a person. They bring a little metal into you, which I think is important for people to just be away from home to do, because I don't know, it helps you when you are tested, when you're in an industry where they're like, "Oh, you don't look good like this, you need to do this," or and you feel the pressure to change yourself for an industry. And I think because you've already lived that test somewhere on your own terms, you're less likely to just adjust, when you go into the industry. So I think that gave me a very strong foundation to be able to be like, okay, but if I don't make it here, it's okay. I have done it before. I've done other things, and I can do other things.
100%. We always talk about the stereotypical idea of heroines in the the Hindi film industry, and how we look at beauty and all of that. As a woman growing up in India or any other country also, I think the kind of pressures that are put on women are kind of different from the other genders. And because there is, again, this certain standard of beauty that everybody wants to, whether it's certain kind of skin, whether it's certain kind of nose, or it's also the way you look. Are you thin? Are you fat? Or are you... Everything is throughout your journey as growing up. When you look at everybody around you, it's extremely daunting. How were you battling that as somebody who was growing up, if you did? And then I think post the industry, it's a different ball game again, right?
Yeah. So teenagers, especially teenage years, I'm just so thankful to God that there was no social media. Because when I think about social media and what kids are exposed to today in terms of this, especially girls, there's literally now papers that have proven that girls are much more affected by depression, much more likely to commit suicide because of these issues of being commented on, trolled on for the way they look. And I remember as a teenager having these train tracks, braces, huge, with the elastic bands.
Yeah.
And I wasn't very good looking as a 13-year-old, you know. I was awkward as hell, lanky and just not comfortable in my body and stuff. Probably didn't know much about like, waxing and all these things at that time. So if I had been exposed, like if I had put a picture up on my social media, which is what kids of that age are doing now, and I would have been trolled, I'm sure. And it would have really affected my confidence and my self-esteem. So I'm grateful I didn't have that. And I was kind of in this like isolated Nilgiri, small school, you know, very old school. Didn't have too much exposure even to something like a branding. Because 90s, you know, I think that's when we started opening up as a country to global branding, you know, Nike and stuff like that. But it's nothing compared to what like the West was already, you know, doing, and the way that you dressed. Whereas we were in a uniform and we didn't have like trendy things that we had to carry or trendy things that we had to wear. It just wasn't part of our lives. So I'm lucky to have had that. I had this sort of time in my life which changed me in terms of, you know, growing up from a young girl to an adulthood. And that time, you know, was with London, with being away from home, with not having anybody around me. But, you know, it came with both sides of it, where I was really excited to just be liberated, to meet boys, to, you know, go out, to dress up, to feel like a beautiful young girl. And there was the other side, which comes with the responsibility of that, the heartbreaks, the not knowing who you are, the self-search, what do you want out of life? So all of that was a tough time, I think, for me.
Do you feel like that helped you in not being, or maybe the word is less secure, like less insecure, when you were entering the industry, which is again, Hindi film industry particularly, right? And their idea of beauty and how heroines should be. Do you think it helped you that you already lived through those experiences and you were still your own person?
To a certain degree, yes. But I do remember very distinctly having periods in my life early on in my career, especially after ZNMD or so, like after my first film, where I felt so scrutinized for the way I looked that I felt ugly, that I would look in the mirror and I know I wasn't ugly. Now, when I look back, I'm like, I was in my prime. I looked so good. Why didn't I enjoy it?
Absolutely.
But there were times where I was looking at myself and I was like, feeling so ugly from just the fact that somebody, you know, said, some comment about my teeth, or said some, you know, like, how can you be an actor, and all this kind of stuff that people just say on social media. Or that, you know, this was also just after, I think, just at the time where like social media, when did that come? Around
the time,
2013? Maybe it was a little later. It wasn't, Davey was earlier.
People around
but I don't know how. But no, there were comments like this on Twitter, I remember. Yeah. Maybe it was a bit later than Davey.
Sure. Yeah, it was.
I remember those really affecting the way I looked at myself. So, you know, I don't think any amount of exposure, confidence, like sexual liberation can protect you from the fact that, you know, people have a protected identity and can say anything they want on social media.
You mentioned Devdi. I have to, of course, start with that. It was, I think in your career, when I look at the choices that you've made, I see roles that can always start conversations, you know, and which I think is beautiful. Every role that you've played is so distinctly different from the other, and very monumental in the writing of female characters during that time, I feel. Anurag's interpretation of Devdi was obviously very different from, culturally different, and also traditionally different from what Devdi used to be. And it did cause a furore at the time, right? I remember that, of course, you were fantastic in that role. You brought in a lot of layers that required, but it was quite the discussion about the portrayal of Chanda and Chandramukhi. What have been your learnings from that, and also the aftermath of it, if I might call it that? Because it was one of the roles that you were also extremely loved for. Yeah,
it's funny because it all came all very slowly, you know. Like when I did Devdi, I remember Anurag's one advice was that I don't watch any of the older Devdas films. he said, I want you to not have any hangovers about how this character should be. And I hadn't seen them, so that was lucky for him. And I stayed that way and did the role of Chanda without watching. And I think definitely, I'm glad I did that, because if I'd seen Madhuri Dixit, I'd be like, kya karungi main? I'm never going to be like that, you know? Like, so I'm really glad in a way that, you know, I got that, and that he protected me from that sort of, I guess, you know, legacy or whatever it is that you feel like you have to match up to. But once the film came out, you know, it wasn't an overnight hit. It was a slow cult classic that kind of grew and grew. And, you know, the amazing music that Amit Trivedi, it must have been his first or second film then, he really really went crazy. People really loved that music. And I think I got time to like let that sink in. And I also didn't get work for 2 years after Devdi. I was doing my play, The Skeleton Woman, which I co-wrote with my co-star, Prashant Prakash. So we were writing a play, we were putting up a play, traveling around the country. I didn't see a film for another 2 years, you know? So it took a long time for me to kind of grow in the industry, to become famous. That didn't happen. People think that, oh, I got that break and that's it, and, you know. But it actually took a few films, and I think obviously Zindagi and Yeh Jawaani were the ones that sealed the deal. You know,
Yeah.
those are the guaranteed, you know, selfies on at everywhere I go is because of those two films. But yeah, it took. So I got a good like 3-4 years of introduction to the industry without being fully in it, which allowed me to also like. I think if you shoot up to fame immediately, it's also very overwhelming and you feel the pressure to keep yourself up there. But if you fall right away, you're kind of like, oh, okay, this is an up and down game, you know? And it is. There are many ups and downs, and you got to be okay with the downs, I guess.
What are the advices you were getting then, you know, when you're going to casting directors? And because I hear people get a few weird ones for sure.
Yeah, then I don't remember everything, but I do remember somebody telling me to dye my hair black and do an item number. And what else? I remember, yeah, you know, comments about the way I looked, about my teeth. That was often there. A little later, I had a producer also talk about, you know, the Botox. Said, oh, just a little bit of filler for the laughter lines. So, and it's all said very casually, like it's not like said like you have to do this, otherwise you can't get the role. It's just like casual, you know. So then you can't even play it uncool and be like, how dare you say I should get Botox? So you just have to be like, ha 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 ha. I'll try not to laugh so much.
Pretty much like how the sexual harassment works in the industry as well, right?
Yeah, casual.
Did you have to go through that as well with the same?
I've had 2 incidences where I would say I've been in very, like uncomfortable situations. One was not even in this industry. One was in Cannes. And I wasn't even an actor then. I was a student in London. And I had gone to Cannes to sell Nokia phones. I was a promo girl for Nokia phones. And I was, you know, on one of the, what do you call those?
Wagon sort of a thing. On the wheels, right?
Yeah, you lean forward and it moves. I forget the name. Anyway, I was on, at that time they were new as well. So they were promoting that along with the phone. And there was an Indian producer. I'm not going to say the name.
Sure.
But he knew somebody who knew my mother, whatever. They put me in touch. They're like, yeah, meet a good producer, Indian producer, big guy. So I met him, went to see his screening at Cannes. And then he asked me out for dinner in London. And I just told him, if ever, you know, any leads about work, how I can get work and all. So he made it very clear that, you know, I have to be with him in order for that to happen.
Sleep with him and whatever.
So I obviously said no, thank you. And that was the end of that. And the other time it happened was when I went for an audition here for a film. And the producer said, oh, yeah, you want to do this film? That's great, but I need to get to know you because it's a big launch. And again, it was basically the same thing. Like, I need to get to know you, come out with me, we'll go for dinner. So again, I was like, I'm sorry, I don't want to waste your time or mine. Bye-bye.
How does it impact you at that moment? How do you deal with it? Like, how do
I
you
have a-
balance your expectations and disappointments is what I want to know.
I have a raging fury inside me. I want to just like smash everything in the room and punch the person in the face.
Yeah.
But I also have this like, I think something that we as women grow up with, which is like just keep it in, stuff it down, and just get out of this situation, because also out of safety and so many other reasons, out of like, I just want to extricate myself from here. I do not want to be part of this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a disgust kind of experience. I can't, like, you can see my body literally rises up, and it's a strong place when you feel that rage inside you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I have that in me. I don't know where it comes from. Probably my very angry mother. I probably
Thank you to all our angry mothers.
Thank you, angry mother.
Seriously.
But it's more than I can take, and then I just have to extricate myself before I scream ragefully. So that's how I feel about it.
No, of course.
How I felt. Yeah.
At the time. No, the conversation about Devdi also led to a lot of, like I said, cultural shifts, right? The movie did so many other things. I know that you had to go through so many comments about your film at that time, right? Like trying to typecast you, trying to do all of that.
In Devdi, yeah. Also, somebody had written that I'm like a Russian model who's come and done this film. I was very offended by this.
Really?
I said, how can you not know that I was born in Periyamudalia Chavadi? Why do your research? Then I realized a lot of journalists don't do their research. And now I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this one said this, theek hai, whatever.
It's okay, let me tell you.
The first
that I am from, the first time. Let me tell you, I am from here again. But no, that's sad, right? I completely agree with you. Also, when I was saying cultural shift, is also the media stereotyping you as well, right? Because like we were discussing, everything becomes about the bold role. We were just discussing. Everything else that you've done is just categorized into that. That's something that you must have also kind of ruminated over or thought about, thinking like, why is it that you can't see what I'm trying to do here?
I think at that time, your first role, you don't really realize that it's a stereotyping. You just think, oh, okay, this is just like how it works. But as time goes, and each time you do a new role that succeeds, people want to see you only do that thing again and again and again. Now it's, like Homebreaker, Affair Girl, since, Made in Heaven, and Gully Boy, and I'm like, okay, but can I do anything else now? Even after Margarita, I got only disability roles. I'm like, guys, what? So I've kind of just understood that this is just the ebb and flow of stuff, that people only remember you for your latest, and then you have to rebuild each time.
I think what's interesting here is that someone who's done such varied roles had to actually go through typecasting that way. Because if you look at your career, you cannot pinpoint any role being similar. Maybe they'll have layers of similarities like every human being might do. But the fact that you had to go through is saying that I feel like we are very myopic in our view
It's very short-term memory. People just see the last thing you're in or the last successful thing you're in, and then they're like, yeah, this is what this person can do.
Okay, of course, we'll have to come to your very popular roles, right? Very, very interesting. Aditi and our Natasha. How can we not? But my favorite thing about Natasha is you sitting and having that moment in the car saying, I'm a rock chick girl. That's my favorite moment.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a meme now when you're saying that the world asking us, what are you doing? And that meme comes in saying, I'm a rock chick girl, live in a rock world. And I love that. That has become like a iconic feminist meme in that way.
Yeah.
But very interesting, because the amount of hate that the character was getting, a lot of people now understand and say that, listen, we've called it a red flag throughout, but if your boyfriend was behaving like that, would you be okay? It's a very interesting conversation that your role has generated today. What are your thoughts on it?
Gaslighted her into becoming insecure.
Is what a lot of them said. Very interesting, because the initial conversation in brief that was given to you is what I want to know about.
I think it is a character that's problematic. There's no doubt about it. And, she's grown up in a kind of a protected world with a lot around her. She's very privileged. And, she's not able to handle something that is beyond her understanding of what is a relationship.
Yeah.
And fair enough. Maybe she'll find somebody who fits into her box. But that's about it. I'm glad that the characters lived on and has all these debates. But it's not for me to say. Like in that moment, I was just like, okay, how can I make this character fun?
It does look like you had a lot of fun, Kalki. When you look at that character, it just felt like
the minute you have to wear those like heels which are like this high, like an apartment in Bombay high, okay, and you're like in this tight denim like fitted dress, and it's hot and everything. You just automatically become like a French poodle. You have no choice. And the hair, similar to what I have now, right? Yeah. But much better because it was like perfect all the time. But I think it people don't talk about costumes, how much they can add to a character, how much they can do for you as a character.
It's like a switch on, switch off, no? When
you put that thing on, you're feeling already a bit of something that you didn't have,
Do you remember, Zoya, and your conversations when you were building the character, which may be interesting?
I mean, we laughed a lot, especially with the Bhagwati. How many, like I was like, this Bhagwati is getting paid more than I am for sure,
Valued more for sure.
Yeah, there was like a guard for the Bhagwati. There was a guy from Hermes or whatever, like holding the bag, taking it back, But I think she's always been very clear about what the character is. She's always, she literally writes the beats in. So, the comic beats are almost like, that, okay, after this, you don't say, like you say this line and you keep quiet because, there's that beat. So she's very good at writing it in, writing the comedy in. And that Rock Chick song is totally, she picked that song.
Oh, I love it.
And I thought it was very spot on for the character.
It's
such a weird song. And the way it's sung also, Rock Chick.
She said it like that. But I think it was her moment. It was her moment.
Yeah.
I love that about that.
Yeah.
Very contrasting, different, of course, Aditi from Yeh Jawaani.
Yes.
The girl is, longingly looking at this person who may not love her back, and all of that, and then finding her own thing. How did you look at the character's graph in the film, or when you were reading it and understanding it?
Aditi?
Yeah.
Aditi was like, firstly, very exciting for me just because I wanted to play a happy character,
I like you say that.
Dev, the Zindagi, Yellow Boots, all very kind of heavier character. I mean, Zindagi, of course, was a comical character, but still like negative-ish. So this was the first like bubbly, happy, like over-the-top character, and I was very excited to do that. And then I didn't feel like it would be a challenge because I was like, the young Aditi is a lot like me, like, tomboyish, like doesn't care what people think, gives it back to people. So I didn't feel too much pressure. I felt pressure on the first day of shoot though, when Ayan was like, that was great, but just do it like 10 times louder. I was like, that was not loud? I was like, I'm doing a cartoon. How much louder can I be? He's like, no, like really, like be loud. I was like, okay, this is a different format.
A little bit of hamming, is it?
Only the director can put everybody on that plane because we all come from different fields, different backgrounds of acting.
Sure.
So it's the director who's going to be like, no, tone it down or bring it up.
Sure.
And, it makes sense that you listen to your director because at the end of the day, he's going to cut your scene out if you don't. Or she's going to cut your scene out.
But you had fun there too, I think I could see it.
Yeh Jawaani, yeah. I had a lot of fun. We had great fun in Manali, went on these treks, jumped in icy cold water. We had a good time.
I like how you said the director might cut your scenes. That's something that you have to get used to also.
Yeah, it happens. Or worse, your film doesn't release. Like Kash, I did a film, Ishan Nair did, and I had a small role. I didn't have a main lead or anything, but still, like your film never releases. It's sad. It's a lot of work.
Kalki, when
Kash it had released.
Kash wo release hota. Kar do release kahin pe. Do you look or do you ponder over the characters that you've done? Like, for example, Abhay had a very different perspective post-Theldi, saying that how he could not relate to it at all. He said that what I felt during that time was very different of how I was feeling later. It was exaggerated and all the things that were shown around him was not necessary. This one is an afterthought. So here's my question. A, what do you feel about it? Have you judged your characters later over the years and you think like, yaar, pata nahi yaar, tab problematic nahi laga kya ye problematic hai? Are questions that I want to know, have you ever asked yourself?
I mean, in the moment itself, I look at the screen, I'm like, why did I do that?
You do?
Yeah, many times. Like, I criticize. Like, the first time I watched my own show or film, I watch it 2 times for this reason. The first time I watch it, I only watch it to be like, where did I not do right, or where did I blunder, or how could I have improved that? Then the second time I watch it for fun. And then I don't watch it anymore because it's over, it's done. I can't change anything about it. But I actually don't have any regrets. I'm just like, I'm glad I tried this and I learned from it. I think that in the moment you learn what you learn from it, and then I let it go. Like, after that, who cares what I did 5 years back?
See, you're as detached today. Maybe that is why you're the way you are. No, your mental health doesn't get as impacted. You stayed away from social media for a while, if I'm not wrong. Reading comments and all of that.
I mean, I try to limit my social media. I don't stay away from it. I mean, it's my dream one day to just be like, I am so famous, I don't need social media. It's never going to happen. I can live in a mountain somewhere, just come, do my shoot and go back. This is the dream. Just take care of my chickens, have run some charity for animals and stuff. I don't know, that wildlife, just, that. And chalo, go do my character, play something, come back. That's never going to happen, but this is my dream. Now, social media, comments are nasty. I try not to read too much. Now you get, right, I just look at the comments of friends or something sometimes to be able to reply to them. But if I'm writing something flammable also, I ban myself from looking at the comments. So
I like you're self-censoring pehle only. I ban myself.
I ban myself. I say, no, I'm just not going to look at my media for 2 days. And you know what? That's how long it lasts. Not more than 2 days. But if you looked, those 2 days would feel like an eternity and you would feel like hell.
Sure.
So for me, it's better for my mental health, for sure. At the same time, I'm not like, I've never, turned off comments. So I'm okay with it happening. It's like a game, I think. It's like somebody else is running. There's it's out of your control. Once you've put it up, then there's debates on, no, this is what she meant. No, this is what she meant. No, this is what, and they're only doing the debating. So I'm like, theek hai, that's running something else.
You've been doing a lot of to and fro. So I want to ask you, how
Goa,
do you
Bombay.
look? Yeah, from Goa, Mumbai, you've been doing for work. You've been doing a lot of to and fro trips. How do you look at the current state of the Indian film industry and the content it's making? What are your thoughts on it?
I don't know what to say.
Whatever.
There's nothing happening now. Everyone's unemployed. There's no work. It's not a good time in the industry. I'm not an economist. I'm not a business person. So I can only vouch for the fact that most of the actor friends I know are out of work.
Yeah.
And, it's quite consistently, a lot of them are also just going and doing Telugu films or Tamil films because there's no work in here. I don't know what's causing it. I don't know how long it's going to last. I hope it doesn't last too much longer. I personally feel like it's not different from some of the other times in my career where there have been bouts of no work. And in those bouts of no work, I usually get on with some other thing, writing something, doing my shows, which I take around, like corporate shows on Motherhood that I have, a couple of, different monologues, things like that. So I do keep myself busy. So I'm lucky to have other means of continuing. And I think more and more, we have to be creative in our fields for that. The mediums are also changing. The way we watch things is changing. It's in a process of change. OTT was like this bubble that just went crazy, right, for 10 years. Everybody was getting work. Everybody was thriving from it. And now that bubble has burst. And everyone's everything's stalled. Things haven't been working. So it's time to reinvent, recreate, figure out stuff. It seems like the business models are changing. I mean, Amir Khan's coming up with this release on YouTube, which is a completely risky, but if anyone can risk it, it's him, idea. But if he pulls it off, it's like really a very hopeful thing for creative makers, because it's going back literally to the olden days where you used to go to the rental place and rent out a movie. You're literally paying for the movie. You're renting it out for the week, right?
Yeah.
That's what we used to do. And I sometimes do that. I'm like so tired. I can't look at Netflix and be like, what do I watch? There's so much. I don't know what to watch. So I think about, somebody tells me this film, and then I see, oh, I have to pay and rent it out of Amazon. I pay and rent it out, right? Because I'd rather watch something that's been really recommended to me, that I know I'm going to enjoy watching for a specific reason, than just like put something on and watch like a zombie.
Kalki, because you said that, I want to know, if you analyze this further, do you think like the fact that a lot of original content is not being greenlit, and you have a lot of the trends that are like tentpole films and of franchises and remakes and constant that happening, there is that dearth of really good content having a chance to survive. Do you think that? How do you analyze it?
I think it's hard to say. Everything goes through these cycles. I think good content will have its comeback. Has to. People, won't keep supplying for stuff that, they don't want to watch. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows, right? I mean, I feel like, I don't really know. How can I know? Nobody knows.
Sure.
That's why there's a problem. Everybody's afraid to risk anything, because they don't know what to predict.
Coming to that, right? Like you did Yellow Boots at a time when they were not making again content like that as well. And I remember discussing with you saying that you feel very close to the character because of some of the things that you felt through the character. Tell me how that understanding was for you then, and I think also the time when you worked with Gulshan, and which he mentions.
I felt close to the character. You find things which you relate, right?
Sure.
And just like I relate to Aditi's like tomboyishness, I relate to this feeling like a stranger, like a foreigner, being always looked as that person, and trying to find out who you are, wanting to know your roots. Yeah, that to a certain degree. I still feel like I don't know enough about my grandparents, for example. I wish I knew more about them, and they passed away. So you have this feeling that if you can understand them, you can understand you better, yourself better, because you carry things that you don't even know about from those generations, right? Generational trauma, generational traits, and I do find that fascinating. So I'm sure at that time I would have related to that aspect. Then, of course, you use tools to make that character yours. So, like, I remember that time I used a lot of heavy metal music, and a lot of I was listening to the Muse, and not heavy metal, but this kind of kind of music, I had like a whole playlist, and I was always listening with the headphones to this music.
Do you do that often for your characters?
I did then. I do that a lot less now. I think I used to feel this need to be there, And it's a lot of effort, and it keeps you very unpleasant also, I think, in general, because then you're only that.
Yeah.
Now I find it easier to pop in and out, even if I'm playing an intense character. In fact, I feel the need to release from that a lot more. Like now I'm I do something intense in a scene, or play some intense character, and I'm like, okay, I need to shake that off, go joke around, do something else, something very different in energy to keep my balance. I think when I was younger, I didn't want to keep my balance. I wanted only to go straight deep dive into something, and everything else didn't matter,
Yeah.
And I think that comes with experience. And also feeling more confident that you can go there if you need to.
Sure.
That I can go into a very dark place in a matter of seconds if I need to. I don't need to be there all the time. That comes from experience, yeah.
Sure. I think our early experiences of understanding relationships kind of comes from our parents. Am I right? I mean, I don't know if it's hard for you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
How did that
That's such a depressing thought.
But it does, isn't it? But it is, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Is this a therapy
And
session,
then
Rudrani?
I hope it's for me because I'm hoping I learn from it more than you. But then, and I think from then you kind of make what your idea of being in a relationship will be, and your idea of marriage and love and all of that. How was that evolution for you? Starting from watching your parents.
My parents divorced when I was 13. It was really bad, very bad. They were really nasty to each other, and it was like cold and mean, and growing up between that was very tough. Maybe that's why I'm divorced.
I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah, definitely. There's a certain part of you that jeopardizes relationships once they start going bad.
Sure.
And you're like, oh, this happens, right? Because that's you've been witness to that as a child. I've been witness to my parents separating and divorcing and hating each other for a while. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is what happens. And so you don't put in that, some part of you is like lost that faith that you can work through the worst. And I guess over time and consciousness and therapy, like I've become more aware of that need to jeopardize before it, before it gets too bad, I'm just going to step away, like detach, so like that sort of has evolved over time. And I'm like, okay, even if the worst thing comes true, what next? How do I go forward? Like I don't have to run away from it, which is definitely through a lot of therapy and awareness.
Sure.
But yeah, what can I say? I mean,
from yours, I see that even if it was your parents were bitter, when you had your divorce, you're actually still friends with this person. You've maintained, and it was extremely civil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
But it took time,
Sure.
The first few years was not easy for us. And there came a point where we were like, we need to stay out of each other's lives. Because it was hurtful to see the other person with somebody else, or to see the other person, whatever, anything. Just the reminders are so strong. And, there's so many people that we know in common. And of course, the beauty of that is that you can still have those friends that you have made because of this other person. But also there are some people you're like, oh, good, I don't have to be friends with them anymore. So there's that. But I think it does take a few years. You don't get to it immediately, or we didn't get to it immediately. And distance helps, But of course, now it's in a good place, and we're able to, catch up every once in a while and follow up in what's going on in our lives. So yeah.
Sweetest message for Alia Kashyap's wedding also, I think, was beautiful.
Yeah.
And she is very, very fond of you. She keeps saying everywhere that you kind of looks up to you. So that's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when she was 7 years old,
That's nice.
She's like 24, she was 7. It's crazy how fast. And it gives me perspective about my daughter, because I'm like, my daughter is 5. So it's going to go fast.
It's going to go
It's going to go super fast, like lightning.
No, 100%. I think around the time though, I mean, imagine you going through it. A lot of people say that the tag of being divorced for women is way worse. You had to go to a time where you were not given houses, if I remember it.
Yeah.
And that is a valid discussion today as well. The way the society looks at you.
The bachelorette.
Yeah, is very different, right? For women again.
It's very irritating, yeah. How can we still have this problem now?
But we do.
It's sad. Like, it's like...
You're like, still going
on. Why is it still going on? Like,
yeah,
it's sad. It's really sad. And yeah.
Right? You were denied houses and all of that happened to you, if I'm not wrong?
Yeah. I was in this film called, a documentary film called Bachelorette at the time, which was talking to just ordinary women who were, not given houses in Bombay. Mm-hmm. And she somehow found out that I hadn't gotten a house, or at one point I had to fly my mother over to get the house because I had to prove that she was living with me. So things like that. So I did the interview for her and I talked about it. I definitely don't have it too bad. I mean, I managed to find a place, and it's one of those like weird things where like people are fascinated because you're a famous actor and they want your selfie, but they don't want you living in their society. Like the hypocrisy of it is insane. Yeah, I feel, it's just, I can't believe we still live in this world where we're denied basic things like housing, like how, on the basis of who you are. I don't even want to think about if you're like, I don't know, LGBT, or if you want to just, if you're just different from the rest of the community, how people are going to react to that, how hard it is.
It must be difficult for a lot of minorities out there, but it is still going on. So there you go. Kalki, you brought up a very important conversation about mothers having to be perfect all the time and motherhood. I remember, of course, you've written a book on it later.
Yeah.
And I think
it's called The Elephant in the Womb.
Yes, it is.
It's available on Amazon for like $300.
Please go and read it if you haven't. No, I think it's lovely. The most honest portrayal of motherhood and all of that. The expectations that you have from mothers, what you're going through. Today, with your daughter being 5 years old, when you think about the phase that you had to go through, what have been your major learnings and how do you look at it today?
How do I look at it? I look at it as a complete life changer. I think that, when you become a mother, nobody prepares you for the psychological changes. Of course, the hormonal changes, the fact that your body has been through hell and back is one thing, but the psychological change of everything revolves around this little thing now, this child. It really does. And whether you like it or not, biologically, like literally, there were times I was, I was breastfeeding at the time, and I was in another room, and I would hear my daughter cry, and my milk would start coming out. Like your body is linked, like there's some link to the child that's so deep. And this doesn't get any less deep when now, if my daughter, let's say she wants to become, I don't know, something really like you can't do here, I don't know, like an ice skater or something. Now, I know that we will uproot our lives and go to wherever that place is in the middle of like the cold where you can learn ice skating properly. Whatever, like it's not, we're going to adjust around this. That's just how it is now. Sure. We uproot our lives all the time for how we moved because her school was closed. We do it. It's just part of life. That's just how it's going to be. So that's just something you accept as a parent, that you will serve this child for at least the first 18 years. After that, a little less, but your life is altered. At the same time, it's like so rewarding, and they're like, I think what kids really do, or at least one kid really does, is like make you relive a lot of what you had, make you appreciate those things which you maybe have forgotten about, like the innocence with which they celebrate nature. And they're like, I have to save this, or I have to go do this, I have to plant a tree. It's like, oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that. That's important. Yeah, it matters. So that renewal of
that helps.
Innocence, it really matters. And the care with which you want to address the way you speak in your family, because that kid is going to learn what you do, not what you tell them to do. So how you speak to your partner, how you speak to the people around you is the way they're going to treat. Even somebody like the nanny, our help. If I treat her with this respect, of course my daughter will treat her with this respect. So you realize that they're kind of a mirror to who you are, a mirror to what you can be as a person. It really brings out, I think, your humanity. You become vulnerable. The heart is on your sleeve all the time. Like you're just, half of me is there. Like I'm like, what is she doing? How is she? Is everything okay?
But like they say, I know you're not a helicopter mom, right? You have to stop, right? That's you're not hovering and all that. Did it take a time to be that?
No, I think that I've had big gaps between work, so it's okay. But there are times where I've had to go for 5 weeks, which is a significant time when your kid is a toddler. And it has its effects. There should be a whole universe for mom's guilt, really. There's like the amount of guilt you feel when you leave and you're like, I can't be in 2 places, but and I really want this, I really do want to work, of course. But there's part of you that's like, I just want to be close to her all the time.
With all your experiences that you've had, all of that, you've also been very open about what marriage to you today is. That is a major discussion all the time, right? Have you ever felt pressurized to have, from anybody or around you? And how do you look at that today?
You feel a little bit of that pressure from family when I was younger to like get married. I don't know. Did I ever really feel it strongly though? Not really.
No.
No. No. I don't know what to say. It's not like, it's again one of those things which I feel like it's not a big deal. But I know for a lot of people it is.
Sure.
You know, like when I got pregnant and I wasn't married, it was like such a big deal, and everybody was like, how did you get pregnant out of wedlock? Like, this is a term used from the 18th century, out of wedlock. Like, what are you, in a Shakespeare play? I just couldn't understand it. I was like, what? Yeah, I was living with my partner.
Yeah.
We were together. We'd been together for years. We had a baby. It's normal. That's what happens.
Yeah.
We do sleep together, by the way. You know, like we are living together, so it happens. You know, and I just feel we're living these like lies in society sometimes, where we're like pretending that these things don't happen, but we have a huge population. Obviously, these things happen.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't get it, really. I don't know.
But even now, you stick to what you believe in, right? The world still will have opinions on it. You have to lead your life the way you want to.
Yeah.
Imagine if you start listening to
I guess what it is that I do get, like anyone would, get affected by the clickbait, by these kind of statements that come out. Kalki said, la, la, la. Because they're usually taken out of context and made to look like you're kind of this crazy person that's like really rebellious or really hates somebody or really, you know, like or you hate religion or you hate whatever. It has to have some offense around it.
Yeah.
This is the way that news and social media has become, right?
Yeah.
Everything is about what shocking information are we getting.
Yeah.
And that's why somebody's going to click on it and go and watch the interview. So knowing that, it's like, it doesn't matter what I say. It will be taken out of context.
I think what I learned from you is staying true to who you are, whether the society is telling you whatever. It's so difficult to be that authentic, Kalki. Look at the world around us. I don't think I'll ever see another you, to be honest. No, really.
Yeah.
Think about it.
I love you, and I think you're
I love you.
You always ask exciting questions, but I just have less faith in our concentration as human beings.
Yeah.
We want next. You know, yesterday I'm wearing Stitch today because I went to see Lilo and Stitch with my daughter.
Yeah.
It was literally like a ketamine high. Like, what's going on? You're showing this to bachas? It was every 3 seconds the frame is changing. Every 2 minutes there's like a mini climax. You are just like this all the time, you know, and all the thoughts in the movie are noble, you know, friendship, family, you might have bad behavior, but deep down, if you're given love, you can become a good person. All these are very noble thoughts and ideas. Great ideas. No problem with the script. But why do you have to film it like every second? Every second, I gotta be like this. I gotta watch it like this. And, you know, 3D glasses, and it's popping out at you.
It's a lot.
And my daughter took her glasses off because she's not used to. She watches like 90s shows because I've also read too much research about Cocomelon, how addictive it is and all that. So she watches this kind of like slow stuff. So she took her glasses off. I'm like, why are you taking your glasses off? It's blurry when you watch it without. And she said, no, I don't. It's too much. They're coming out towards me. I don't like it. You know? And I just thought, I feel like this has just become the norm, that we need the next 2-minute high. And so it's hard. It's hard for people to sit and have or listen to a whole conversation.
Fair enough.
But, you know, there are certain things in life we gotta do. We gotta be stuck in traffic. We gotta cook. We gotta clean. You know, there are times where you can listen to a podcast peacefully.
You will.
When I drive in Goa, because I drive a lot in Goa, I don't have a driver. I take my daughter to school. I go places with the car, and I put on a podcast. I love listening to podcasts when I'm driving.
We have more of you here. Do not listen to the first. This is what we want to stick with. But you know, on that note, because you said, Kalki, what are the films in your career, you know, that you consider to have truly impacted you, and hope you one day get to discuss that with your daughter. Discuss the layers that you're showing in the film. I want you to point that out and tell me what they are and why.
I mean, I don't particularly want to shove my films into my
I'm
daughter's
saying if she
face.
wants to.
If she wants to watch.
Isn't it like if I had there's a curiosity, right, of any
Of your
child
parent.
to look up to what their parents are
Yeah.
doing and to research and stuff.
Yeah. All in
She
good time.
All in good.
All in good time.
5-year-old is not.
When I'm 70, yeah.
When you're 70, you
Yeah,
want to
I
discuss
think
it?
so, because kids go through a phase where they really don't want to know anything about their parents, and I'm preparing for that phase.
Really?
Yeah. They're like from 15 onwards. Like
preparing for
I'm planning to have some adult friends, okay, who are her aunties, like
got
my friends who are my age,
the cool ones.
but the cool aunties, who
yeah.
she will go have her first smoke with or
Yeah.
do things with. So I have some idea, but she'll not know all this, so she can't listen to this podcast.
Oh, she
So-
can't.
The plan is to like have
Protect her as much?
no, I don't know if it's protecting, but just to have that cool attitude, but also like know that there will be a period of time in her life where she will not want to tell her mother things. And I'll have to accept that. But there will also be a period where she grows out of that when she's like 35 and she has a kid and she's like, oh my God, this is hard. I'm going to ask my mom about this. And then the curiosity will open up.
But because you said that, I have to tell you. I told you I miss being best friends with my mother. Not now. Now we are at the age that we were. And I always felt that it's an assumption. There you go. That you'd probably be somebody who your daughter would reach out to because you would have open conversations and not really tell her what to do.
I mean, I would love that to happen, but I just see it. I see it all around me. Even the
You're not
coolest
very
moms.
positive today. You're like,
All the coolest moms I know, kid turns 12. And the hiding behind their husbands. Like especially girls, girl mother, there's that whole weird thing going on.
Correct.
Oedipus, I don't know what it is, but there is a girl mother thing going on. So I don't mind. It might take some time to come back to me, but it's okay. But if she doesn't, if she really wants to be close to me, of course, I'll be thrilled.
Of
I
course.
hope I'm cool enough for that.
you 100% are. But then I have to tweak my question and say, what are the roles that impacted you? Let's say that. Some roles in your career, you look back and say that, that did change me a very little, and I see that kind of.
I mean, of course, Margarita with the Straw was one that really impacted me, not only because of the fact that the role was so unique and so challenging, but also because nobody before that in the industry had expected or given me the time. Shonali had said 6 months of prepping, nothing else should be done during this time. And it was so focused. You never get to dive so much into something in our industry. Usually you meet, your husband in the film, like the character's husband, you meet like on the day of shoot, and you're shooting the most insane scene where you're fighting and crying and kissing, and you're like, I just met you today. It's a little insane. And you're like, we should at least workshop for a few weeks, like just try to understand something of the character. So yeah, I feel like often we just like fast get into a project. So that opportunity to really take time and get to is something amazing. And what happens when you spend that long on a character is that you form muscle memory. And this happens in theatre. So theatre actors will recognize this, that if you're doing a show over and over for years and years, it's muscle memory.
Sure.
After a point, you don't need to remember your lines. You stand in that position and you remember that line. It's weird. There's a body memory that takes over. And it happened for Margarita, because I was so much in that character for so long that my body just knew how to get there. It wasn't intellectual. It bypasses the intellectual, which is a wonderful thing to do, because you're not thinking, I will do this next. I will pick up the glass like that. You're not. You're there. And that's wonderful. And that comes with that kind of length of time to prep.
I'm going to then pull you to Gully Boy, and since you have no idea about what happens to your characters online later, it's been discussed, right?
I'm sure it's been discussed to death.
It has been discussed. A general perception, and also the scene, right? When she's breaking that
Uh-huh.
that bottle on your head
Uh-huh.
in her rage. If you could tell us an anecdote of what was happening during the scene, because that meme is so widely shared, saying I will do the same if it happens to my boyfriend. But yeah, let's
Wow.
talk about it.
Yeah, that was a long night.
Long night.
We were shooting. We started, I don't know, at 10 p.m. and shot till early morning, that bar scene. And it was a long night. Those bottles were not breaking in the right position. And, they're using these sugar bottles. So obviously it's not harmful. But at one point, one of those bottles hit me really close to the eye. And, there was a slight cut here. It's sugar bottle, so it's not dangerous, but still the shock of it. So having that many bottles hit on your head all night long is not the most pleasant event. But it definitely is a fiery scene. It works. It comes out well. So this is the things we do.
Do you not judge your characters that you play when you first read it?
Of course not. I mean, of course, when I first read it, I judged the whole script. I'm like, this is a shit script. This is not too bad. This isn't terrible. But no, I do of course look at it with a critical eye when I read it for the first time, because I need to know whether I want to do it. And usually a good sign is, if I want to do it, I immediately want to find out more about this character. I want to research it. It doesn't stop at the end of the script. It keeps going in my head. Sure. So that's a great sign. And then, I don't know. What else?
What else? Then you let it go.
I don't judge the character once I'm playing it.
Sure.
Once I play a character, I'm like, this is me. This is my life. And she has every right to be who she is. And I have to advocate for my character.
Sure.
Because if I don't believe in the character, then nobody else can.
Ending by asking you, what have been your learnings as a person who joined the industry and who's now, spent a couple of years, many years here, and continues to do the kind of work that she wants to? What have you learned as an actor for those who probably want to break through to the industry?
Wow. What have I learned as an actor? I think, if it's something that you really want to do for the rest of your life, then, it's a very different thing. Today, there's a lot of confusion between being a celebrity and being an actor, and a lot of confusion between being an influencer and a social media star. And there's it's what Andy Warhol said, 5 minutes of fame everybody will have. So it's that a little bit. And you kind of need to know what it is you're really seeking when you say you want to be an actor. Is it that you really want to understand the craft? Do you really want to understand how this human mind and body work, and how the human condition is? Or is it that you want a career, you want to be out there? There are many reasons to do it, and I don't think there's a right or wrong reason. But knowing what you want is very important. That's the first advice. Second is, as actors, we often feel very helpless because we are in the hands of we need to be cast, we need to wait for work, there's this feeling that it's not in your control.
Sure.
So in order to reclaim that, it's very important for you to create work however you want. It might be making your own little film, it might be making a YouTube show, or even just practicing readings of a play with people that who want to act. The craft needs to be skilled and honed and worked. So don't stop doing that. Find ways to create, and it doesn't have to be expensive. It can be something that you can do at home. So just find that curiosity for the job as well all the time. Otherwise, then you'll just be jaded and waiting, and
that's excruciating.
It's excruciating and difficult, and I would say those two things are important.
I think they're excellent advice. Thank you so much, Kalki. I have a feeling there's so much to learn from your life and of course your artistic choices, on-screen choices, etc. So that's what we want to take away from this conversation. Thank you for being so open and honest as always, and I love you and I will cheer for you and can't wait to see the crazy thing you do next.
Thank you, Rajani. It's always a pleasure, and I hope people will come and listen to our podcast.
They will. Thank you once again and sending you so much love.
Thank you.
Thank you.